Iran signals readiness for nuclear compromise if US addresses sanctions. France reasonably optimistic of G7 maritime ban on Russian oil minister. Pak Govt to form medical board for Imran Khan. Russia's Navalny poisoned with dart frog toxin, European states. Obama deplores lack of shame after Trump racist monkey clip. Iran has signaled it is open to limited compromises on its nuclear program if the United States is willing to discuss lifting economic sanctions, as indirect talks between the two sides resume. Iranian Deputy Foreign Minister Majid Takhtovravanchi said Tehran is prepared to dilute uranium enriched to 60%, a level close to weapons grade provided sanctions relief is on the table. We are ready to discuss this and other issues related to our program if they are ready to talk about sanctions, he told the BBC, describing recent Oman-mediated talks as cautiously positive but still at an early stage. Takhtovravanchi said responsibility now lay with Washington to show seriousness. The ball is in America's court, he said, adding that if the United States is sincere, negotiations could move toward an agreement. Iran also indicated that US demands for zero enrichment are no longer realistic. The issue of zero enrichment is not on the table anymore, Takhtovravanchi said, suggesting Washington now understands that negotiations must focus on nuclear limits rather than total dismantlement. However, US President Donald Trump has continued to take a hard public stance, saying Washington does not want Iran to enrich uranium at all. He has also openly raised the possibility of regime change in Tehran. Major obstacles remain. Despite renewed diplomacy, key disagreements persist. Iran has firmly ruled out negotiating its ballistic missile program, arguing it is essential for national defense following recent attacks by Israel and the United States. Some G7 countries are open to moving forward, with a ban on maritime services for Russian oil, raising hopes for tighter sanctions on Moscow. French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot said on Saturday that France was reasonably optimistic an agreement could be reached. Speaking to reporters after a G7 foreign ministers meeting in Munich, Barrot said France hoped the measure could be included in the European Union's upcoming 20th sanctions package against Russia. Some of the G7 countries have expressed willingness to move forward, Barrot said. The jury is still out, but my expectations are reasonably optimistic. If approved, the move would further restrict Russia's ability to export oil by limiting access to key maritime services such as shipping, insurance, and logistics. The Pakistani government on Saturday announced it will form a medical board and shift jailed former Prime Minister Imran Khan to a hospital, as opposition lawmakers continued protests for a second day demanding urgent medical treatment. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Tariq Fazal Chaudhry said the decision was taken in view of Khan's health condition, including partial loss of vision in one eye. He urged Khan's party not to politicize the issue, saying the government was fulfilling its legal responsibility to ensure proper medical care for prisoners. The announcement followed sit-in protests in Islamabad by the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf (PTI) and the Tehreek-e-Tahaffuz-Ayin-e-Pakistan, held outside Parliament House and KP House. The government also allowed Khan, who is being held at Adiala jail, to speak with his sons by phone for 20 minutes, in line with an order from the Supreme Court of Pakistan. Information Minister Ataullah Tadasha said Khan's further eye treatment would be carried out at a specialized medical institution by senior eye specialists. He added that a detailed medical report would be submitted to the Supreme Court, and called for restraint from speculation and political rhetoric. However, PTI leader Asad Kaiser said protests would continue unless Khan is transferred to Shifa International Hospital in Islamabad and his family doctor is included in the medical board. 5 European countries, including United Kingdom, France and Germany, said on Saturday that Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny was killed by poisoning and that the Russian state was the prime suspect. In a joint statement released at the Munich Security Conference, the 5 nations said laboratory analysis found traces of epibetadine, a rare and highly toxic substance derived from South American dart frogs, in samples taken from Navalny's body. Navalny, a leading critic of Russian President Vladimir Putin, died in a Russian prison on February 16, 2024, while serving a 19-year sentence. Russian authorities had claimed he died of natural causes. The European government said the presence of the toxin and Navalny's reported symptoms strongly indicate poisoning. They added that because Navalny was in state custody, Russia had the means, motive and opportunity to administer the poison. Britain's Foreign Office said separately that only the Russian state could have deployed such a lethal substance and said it holds Russia responsible for Navalny's death. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer praised Navalny's courage in the face of tyranny and accused President Putin of murderous intent. Former US President Barack Obama has criticized what he described as a loss of shame and decorum in American political discourse, responding publicly for the first time to a social media post shared by Donald Trump that depicted Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama as monkeys. Speaking in a podcast interview released Saturday with political commentator Brian Tyler Cohen, Obama said public debate in the United States had descended into cruelty and disrespect not seen before. The video, posted on Trump's Truth Social account on February 5, briefly showed the Obamas' faces superimposed on monkeys while promoting conspiracy theories about the 2020 presidential election. The post sparked condemnation across the political spectrum. The White House initially dismissed criticism as fake outrage, before later removing the post and blaming it on a staff error. Without naming Trump directly, Obama said most Americans find such behavior deeply troubling and warned that basic standards of propriety and respect for public office have eroded. There doesn't seem to be any shame anymore, Obama said, adding that conduct once considered unacceptable has become normalized on social media and television. In the same interview, Obama also criticized federal immigration enforcement actions in Minnesota, comparing the conduct of some agents to practices seen in authoritarian states.